Hello, everybody. It is Dee and Renee, and we are back from Seattle. So Dee and I were just talking about how exhausted we are. We had a lovely, lovely group for our grocery shopping tour, and want to do a shout out to Cindy and all her amazing coaches from Pratt's Wellness up in Kamloops, British Columbia, and Mary Burgum and John Burgum, amazing owners of an Idle Protein Clinic and Chiropractic, and their two fabulous coaches, and Erica and Janine from Bellevue, Washington, and their Ideal Protein Clinic. So shout out to all of you guys. So Dee has been just at work yesterday, busy cooking up Easter dinner and giving you all the things that are low carb, sugar free. I am here in Northern California in Los Gatos near San Jose area, and it's lovely and warm outside. And then my phone's going off. Here we go. And Dee, tell us about what's happening in the hat.
It's kind of a cool, breezy day. We had a big election yesterday, so big provincial election, and so we have the changing of the guard in government. So that's what was happening all over in Alberta yesterday. So it doesn't really not big news for all of you watching from down south, but big day, big crazy day in Alberta yesterday. So yeah, and ramping up for Easter. So it just seems like after the weekend, the last 3 days, everything is getting festive. Clients and coaches are talking about their Easter weekend plans, what they're going to do, looking for ideas for fun games and things that they can fill an Easter basket with that aren't related to food. So I always love talking about those kind of things. So yeah.
Well, I haven't had little ones for many, many years. I have a 17-year-old and a 24-year-old. So there's no Easter things going on because I'm not a grandma yet. So I'm the Easter Scrooge over here. Who eats bunnies? Wolves? Anyway.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All right. We got to meet Kelly at the Seattle Super Weekend. Kelly is from South Dakota, and awesome seeing her, and love to see you online. All right. So let's see what Dee has cooking up here. One of the things that Dee and I did is we got to spend a little time together, and right across the street from us, big shout out to Ryder Restaurant and the Theodore Hotel next to the Grand Hyatt in downtown Seattle. And they had some amazing food that gave Dee some of the inspiration for this week's cooking event. Tell us what we have here, Dee.
So the salad actually that you see pictured there today is one that we did at our live cooking event in Seattle. And it is a fennel and rhubarb salad with a rhubarb puree dressing. And it is simple and delicious and just screams spring and summer fresh. And it's really, really pretty, mixed with baby assorted greens. And so we did one that had baby beet leaf tops and arugula and a little bit of baby spinach. And we did use the trail mix. So if you are on a protocol such as IP, then the nuts in the salad were roasted trail mix. But if you are in phase 4, you could easily roast your favorite nut and substitute that. And then it also had fresh roasted rhubarb, which I was so excited to find in that grocery store in Washington, in Seattle. So there was so much local, fresh, and organic produce in the grocery store in Seattle. It was very, very exciting. And so then fresh, crunchy fennel, touch of maple syrup on those roasted nuts and rhubarb, and then make an awesome rhubarb puree dressing. And you just have a really colorful, delicious, lots of different flavors. And one of my most favorite comments after presenting this salad was that one of our audience at the cooking presentation said, you know, if I would have just read that recipe, I probably would have never made it. I would have looked at it and passed it right over. And so tasting it for her was all the difference, and it is now on her Easter menu. So that was really exciting, and that's exactly why it just makes me love doing food presentations even more. Yeah.
I totally agree with you. And one of the things that Dee had me do was make the rhubarb compote.
Yes.
And we thought we were going to get a lot farther than we got, but that's okay. So I had this rhubarb compote, and most of the class had never tasted it before. And that was something that, like, on my journey through IP and then becoming a coach, probably I was a coach for 5 years before a client said, look, I brought this for you. She thought she was gifting me some golden eggs. And I was like, oh, great. Thank you. And so I was, of course, I had to put it in my chocolate shake like she told me to do. And I have been happy ever since, because it's like having fruit.
Yes.
The one thing, and even, in a low carb lifestyle, you're going to limit fruit a lot because it is just massive sugar. And it just gives us that sugar response. So, finding things that feed the need, that's what's important. So everybody tasted my rhubarb compote and they were like, oh, this is so great. So yeah, it was awesome to hear when Erica said, oh yeah, this is on my menu. So
Yeah.
good stuff. All right. So if you are watching, remember, just type newsletter. And if you have not subscribed to our newsletter yet, the way to get the recipes is type newsletter. And there's 2 steps. The first step is to say yes. And then the second step is to click on the newsletter link and add your info in and subscribe. And then every Monday you'll get recipes, but I believe Dee is going to post the recipes right away on each of these pictures in the photo album on Facebook so that you have them for Easter. So we're not going to make you wait till Monday, but there will be a Monday newsletter that's going to be an old show, a past show. So Sandy says, oops, okay, Deborah, newsletter. Sandy says, I'm hosting Easter dinner and I always love great ideas. Yeah, well, this show is going to be full of great ideas. So this next picture is kind of like the dinner plate. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is ham. So I'll let you talk about that, Dee.
So when you are on a low carb, low sugar journey, roast turkey, roast chickens, fish, they're really, really popular item. And a hot topic is ham. And actually at Super Weekend Training this weekend, a coach brought up that she hates ham. That anybody would eat it due to, its fat, its quality, salt, so on and so forth. So I want to just give my 2 cents about ham. Don't buy anything processed, nothing processed at all. So pieces of meat that are shaped into a ball, no matter if they're this size or cut in half this size, or if they're this size, it's processed, it's pressed together. There is all types of nitrates and sugar and things that you just don't want into your body. They do add more salt into those products to preserve them. So if you're looking to enjoy ham while you are on a low carb journey, you absolutely can. Would it be a daily meat choice? No. Would it be a once in a while meat choice? Absolutely. But you're looking for a full bone-in ham, one that is not injected full of salt or sugar, one that hasn't been pre-seasoned or sugar, One may come with a packet of sugar granules to make sauce out of. You simply just throw that away if you find that, and we'll teach you how to make your own. And I'm going to give you instructions how to roast a bone-in ham. The beautiful thing about lean ham that way is that the visible fat can be easily trimmed away from a lean piece of ham. So the fat isn't actually marbled throughout your ham, it's easily cut away. So if you enjoy it once in a while, I don't want you to be scared of it. It is just a low-carb choice of protein as others. If you don't enjoy it, absolutely choose the turkey or fish or something else. But it just really stresses back to that processed meat. Very often, as the weeks go by, we see things like, we do grocery shopping tours and we show you the ingredients. We don't just talk about if it's turkey, if it's chicken. We gave the example of a Jennie-O turkey bacon. It is mechanically separated mystery parts with sugar water. That is what is shaped into those strips. It wouldn't matter if you were on a protocol. I wouldn't advise you to eat that if you were off a protocol, as there's just no food nutrition value, empty calories, processed, and there's no protein for your body to uptake and use in that form. So, okay. And so, sorry guys. Always whole food choices, always, always, always. It's not real meat. And so the same goes for those pressed ham nuggets. We want to avoid them. We do want to avoid the salt content in them. Ham is cured meat will have a little bit of extra salt content. If you're on phase 1 and following as prescribed, that little extra salt would make you retain a little bit of water for a day, but it's certainly not going to make you gain fat. So there's my schmear on ham.
Well, just in my life, I grew up with a certain religion, and so we did not eat ham. So I'm not familiar with ham. So, but lots of different things that you can cook, and one of the things that I'm working on currently is if you are a vegetarian, there is a Facebook group out there called Ideal Protein for Vegetarians. And of course, we'll be posting all of these recipes that are the vegetarian selections. But we all have different things that make us happy and different ways that we eat. So, valuing what works for others, but eating it in a healthy way, and certainly making healthy organic choices. So Dee, tell us about this. So Dee and I had this amazing roasted cauliflower at Ryder. So
that's definitely this recipe inspiration. And looking at it on the screen, I think I need to do it again and take new pictures, because it is kind of hard to tell what it is, but that is roasted cauliflower, and it is encrusted with the trail mix, ground down to a fine, yummy nut dust. I don't know what to call it, but it is amazing. So I brushed the cauliflower just with a teeny tiny bit of grapeseed oil, and then salt and pepper and a tiny little pinch of garlic. And then I used half of the trail mix puree and patted it on top, and then roasted the cauliflower for 30 minutes. And while that was roasting, then I took the rest of the nut puree and added some water, some fresh parsley, a little bit of garlic, salt and pepper, and just a smidge of lemon juice. And then when that hot roasted cauliflower came out of the oven, then I put the rest of the topping on it, and so it was delicious. It was really good. So just notching up those roasted vegetables a touch, and then once again an example of how we took a phase 1 allowable product to make a fancy up a roasted cauliflower dish, but in phase 4 you could once again you could do pecans or walnuts or pistachios, whatever you like, if you enjoy those nut flavors, or a perfect time to bust out your nutritional yeast. That could be added on there as well for that nutty flavor as well. But a great way to jazz up your cauliflower. So I wanted to do a different cauliflower presentation just because, you know, almost every holiday we do see some type of cauliflower faux mashed potato or faux. So I just wanted to give a little bit of a different presentation. So it was very good. Yeah.
You know, it was, first of all, I love cauliflower, and I did not used to love cauliflower. I grew up with cauliflower that was pretty much steamed half to death. I love you, Mom, but you know, I didn't love cauliflower. So anyway, all the different ways that we can make things, whether it's riced into dishes that give us that rice thing that we love, or, you know, roasted, and you can grill things, and cauliflower is one of those pretty hearty vegetables that you can do a lot of stuff with, and you can eat it raw on your salad too. So this was a delicious way to have your cauliflower. And there's a lot of restaurants now that are carrying these kinds of things, and so delicious, you know, whereas we didn't have all those options before. Now, of course, when you're on phase one, ordering this kind of stuff in a restaurant is difficult because they're, you know, slathering it in oils and butters to make it taste amazing, and, you know, all kinds of things. But
yes,
delicious. And here's another one of the favorite things that we had at Ryder that Dee is recreating. And did you add the sauerkraut to this?
I did not.
Oh, okay. So
I did not.
The one at Ryder came with sauerkraut in the middle of these amazing roasted Brussels sprouts. So options with the sauerkraut.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about options here. And so just like how we showed you cauliflower, so if you've been with us for a while, you might have seen our, you know, faux cauliflower mashed potato. Maybe you've seen our faux cauliflower buffalo dip, our faux cauliflower creamy cauliflower garlic. Maybe you have seen our raw faux potato salad made out of cauliflower. So if there's a side dish you're looking for cauliflower and you need some help, just ask us, because the chances are we've got a recipe to help you out there. And the same goes with Brussels sprouts. So with this Brussels sprout side dish today, I really wanted to, first of all, just tell you how to base roast your sprouts. Because once you've roasted your base sprouts, what you throw on them as a finish it's a game changer for your meal. So I like nice small kind of compact little Brussels sprouts. I just like to wash and trim off the ends. I like to slice them in half. Per 2 cups of Brussels sprouts, 1 teaspoon of oil is plenty to toss and coat. I always suggest that you put them in a bag or in a bowl and toss. Don't be a lazy tosser, because that tiny little bit of oil will really, really go a long way. And then I simply use fresh ground sea salt and pepper, your favorite choices. Put them on a parchment lined or a silicone lined baking sheet, 400 degrees, 25 to 30 minutes. And then you can dress them however you please. You can also dress them, throw them back in the oven to caramelize a bit if you like, or you can just simply toss in the bowl. And these ones yesterday simply have IP's balsamic dressing, a touch of IP's maple syrup, and then we're going back to that other ingredient that was in the salad. So our rhubarb puree is also on those. And it's awesome because that maple syrup, so your that sweet hint, and then that acidity of the balsamic dressing, and then that little bit of fruit essence from the rhubarb gives a fantastic finish to the Brussels sprouts. And it's my instinct to put garlic on almost everything, but I restrained myself this time and just let the acidity of the rhubarb and the balsamic come together, and it's really good. And so really, really simple. So it just took a couple seconds to add those ingredients, and then I did about a 1/4 cup of the rhubarb puree. So the great thing too is once you take the time to make those kind of ingredients, I always love to use them multi-purpose. And so this is a great example how I used it twice in the same meal.
And you know what, the thing is that everybody in your family is going to enjoy these dishes. It's not just about, you know, the one thing we want to get away from is, oh, I'm over here in my corner eating my diet food and everybody else is having the good food, you know. Really making things that everyone is going to enjoy. And you don't have to tell them that there's some IP maple syrup in here and some IP, you know, balsamic dressing in there, some sugar-free stuff. You don't have to tell anybody that. They're going to love it. It's going to be delicious, and just say it's a new recipe I tried and I thought you might enjoy it. You know, it's just like, you know, anything else. We don't have to always declare all our secrets.
Nope.
as long as, you know, we're not doing bad things. Anyway, as long as we're not telling a lie. Okay. So we want to say happy live to Kathy and Sandy.
Hi, Kathy.
Look who's online. Erica, love the salad. Yay, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
So, all right. Next thing up is going to be, okay. This, you know what? I was telling Dee that as a kid, we went to church on Saturday. So on Friday, we had to get all our stuff done and we made all of our food. And this was like a favorite. Probably we took it to a potluck, a church or something, but it was pineapple upside down cake. So when she said she made a pineapple upside down cake, I was like, woohoo!
Yes, this is my version of a faux pineapple upside down cake. And of course, I used one of my favorite veggie ingredients on our phase 1 sheet, and that is the chayote squash. And I roasted that squash whole for an hour, let him cool, thin sliced him, and then I put some sugar-free pineapple Da Vinci. And so for any of you that don't know what that is, it's a liquid sweetener, and 1 fluid ounce counts as a sweetener. But what I did with it was that I actually soaked the roasted chayote in that sweetener, and then I actually discarded the sweetener off of it when I was done. So I was just looking for that chayote to soak up a little bit of the flavoring. And so then I lined my baking dish with my faux pineapple and then made my cake batter with lovely more little faux pineapple bits in the center, and made a faux pineapple cake. And I did drizzle just a tiny little bit of pineapple syrup over that for the finish, and it was delish. It's really eye-appealing.
It's really eye-appealing. I totally agree. That little cake. I mean, so Dee, let's talk for a minute about baking and how you bake with these protein products to get them to rise properly. I know that there's a very specific way that you have to mix all your dry ingredients.
Well, generally, you're always mixing your dry and wet separately, and then you bring them together. Wet goes into dry. With baking, usually a touch of baking powder is required, but you're using really tiny amounts. So for an example, for an IP protein pack, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder is more than sufficient per pack. However, I wouldn't want anybody to panic about it, because if you read on the ingredients boxes of many of your ideal protein products, there is bicarbonate in those products. That's how they get your pancakes and your mug cakes and things like that to rise. So it is safe. So I did have some important questions asked, and that was about, if I bake, will it slow me down? If you are only using the ingredients that are on your phase 1 sheet, then it will not slow you down. But if you're abusing extras and non-allowable extras, and most frequently it is sweeteners. A lot of clients don't realize what a sweetener is, how to track them, journal them, and what the serving size amounts are. So for I'm going to use Walden Farms as an example because most people are familiar with it. That's a sugar-free sweetener, but you are still limited to maximum 4 servings per day. And you must look at the bottle or the container that you're using to determine what the serving size is. So for example, on Walden Farms chocolate syrup, you get 2 tablespoons is a serving. But if you were using their jam, 1 tablespoon is a serving. The Da Vinci sweeteners that you see me talking about today, 1 fluid ounce, so 30 mils is a serving. And so you must track and respect those. I'm just going to quickly give you some other examples because I don't think we can ever talk enough about it. But sugar-free ketchups, barbecue sauces, your any piece of gum, mint, anything you put in your mouth, those are extras. Those are counted as a sweetener. They can't be used unlimited. Every single morsel and serving must be tracked. So it's really, really important. Those include things like your ice chips that you see and your spry gums and your xylitol gums. And even if they lose their flavors in 2 seconds, a serving of them is still a sweetener. It is the list out there is so vast. So you're going to see things like syrups, pancake syrups, liquid sweeteners, your little sucralose or stevia packets that you put in your coffee, you know, one of those tiny little packets, that is a serving. Your maple syrups, jams, any of the Walden Farms mayos. Renee, can you think of a couple more off the top of your head? They're sweeteners. They are sweeteners and they must be tracked. And if your progress starts to slow down, that is the first thing that should be pulled back on before anything else, because even the FDA allows things to be labeled as 0 when there's 0.999 of a carb in something. So really, you're already being allowed about an additional 4 carbs per day just by those 4 sweeteners. So it's really important when you're designing your food day that you know what a sweetener is and you track them. So there might be some days where there's just no room for extras. So if you're a client who really needs to, you know, have some sweetener in your morning coffee and you have 2 of those with 2 little packets of sweetener, well, you're already done 2. And so then when you get to lunch, if you use that serving of salad dressing on your salad, even though it's a 0-0, that's 3. And then say in the mid-afternoon, you stuck a piece of gum in your mouth, that's 4. So you really have to be truthful with yourself and be mindful of what you're using, because oftentimes when we get just a tiny bit stuck, we forget what we've really consumed. And that's why we can't harp enough about writing every bite, lick, and taste down. It's really so important because it can really help you to plan your day as well, like where you want to use those sweeteners. So
yeah, that's true. So if you guys are live, give us a hashtag live. And if you guys are planning something special, tell us what you're going to be doing for Easter. And if you have a special recipe that Dee can recreate for you, send it over to her and she'll be happy to do that for you. So I just wanted to, before my last and favorite picture, because you know that's always the last one, I wanted to pop this up there and let you know that we have a downloadable ebook where you can get all of these phase 1 approved recipes. And the cool thing is that Dee makes sure that you have the right amount of sweeteners so that you're not guessing and constantly wondering, do I have too much oils, too many sweeteners, too many extras? There are some other cookbooks out there that are great cookbooks and work well in maintenance or phase 3. But for phase 1, they do tend to slow you down. And so, all righty. Ta-da.
I was going for some Easter color. And I know, and it was kind of funny because the batter turned brighter as it baked.
What is it?
So that is crispy cereal ground to a powder with a vanilla drink mix, touch of baking powder. That's it for your dry ingredients. And then your wet ingredients is egg white and jicama, fine grated. The excess water is squeezed out. A little bit of oil. And the neat thing about your oil is you can control it. So you can put 2 or you can put 4 teaspoons in. If you only used the 2 teaspoons, you could both unrestricted servings. If you put 4 in, you could share it or save a serving, one for today and one for tomorrow. So if oil is something that you forget to get in your day, it's a mandatory part of your phase 1 days. It's awesome to bake with it. It's a good way to get it in. And I always use grapeseed because it doesn't break down in the baking process. And yes, you guys, like, you come up with a name for my Easter cookies because I don't know what to call them. But anywho, once I had mixed the wet and the dry together, I divided my batter into 3, and I put 1 tablespoon each of a different flavored sugar-free Da Vinci. So what you see there is the pineapple, because that kind of was a theme I was rolling with, a cherry, and a lime. And so for 2 unrestricted servings, you get a 0.75 of a sweetener in each serving. So it only took 1.5 tablespoons of liquid sweetener to color and flavor that baking. So it's a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I'm gonna redo them and put it in a double cakes and get some rainbow cake slices instead. So, and of course the jicama. He is one of my favorite phase 1 veggies. We're going to explain, I think, a little bit better sometimes about why we're allowed those veggies. So the fiber, the inulin that is in jicama, we can't digest it. So we don't get any of the carbohydrates from that veggie. That is why he is allowed to be on our phase 1 list. Excellent for any low carb, low sugar diet. It does not give you a glycemic index reaction at all. So excellent also for type 1 and type 2 diabetics. And it's why it's on our protocol, and it is so awesome to bake with. So it makes any muffin cake or cookie or bread that we make, it adds some lovely texture and moisture too. And so this little batch that you see there today was sampled in clinic and went really, really fast today. So,
Okay, so whoever puts the most creative name that we select, we're going to send you a link to the Dee's Baking book, and that is going to be your gift. We're going to, let's see, we'll do it all the way through Friday, April the 19th. So between now and Friday, you have to put out the names of what you think these cookies should be called, and then we will come back and we will send you a link. Whoever wins gets a link to the downloadable ebook. Okay, so we do have a question here. Yeah. Recommendations for phase 3 and 4 cookbooks. So I know you love Maria Emmerling. Is that her name?
Emmerich is pretty good. Maria Emmerich is pretty good. And we're actually going to release you a phase 3 and 4 meals one as well, coming soon. So watch for that. And what we're doing with that is that we're showing you how to take a phase 1 meal that you're practicing eating right now and rolling it right into phase 4. So something that you should be focusing on is, when you're eating that phase 1 sheet, that wide variety of vegetables and your protein choices, those roll right into 4, and then we're going to teach you how to gussy those up. I honestly, I don't, I do like Renee said, I do like Maria. I don't follow a lot of actual books right now, but that's only more so because I just really have a passion for the phase 1 through 4 cooking with the ingredients that we're allowed. But there is a wealth, like Pinterest and online, there is such a wealth of really good recipes out there. So, I mean, I encourage you, if you come across a recipe that looks really enticing to you and you're just not sure how you can make that phase 1 friendly, just ask us and we can help you with some substitutions and some ideas on how you can make it your own. So I wish I had more names at the tip of my tongue. So once I go back through and look through some of my favorites, I can type in a few more suggestions there.
Yeah. So what is Da Vinci?
Andy, can you go grab me a couple Da Vinci bottles? I'm going to show you. I'm going to explain to you and I'm going to show you. So Da Vinci is sugar-free liquid sweetener. And you might have seen Tyranny sugar-free. Maybe you've seen Jordan's Skinny Girl sugar-free. This is my awesome daughter Andy is helping me out here. Okay, so these are Da Vinci. And so here's pineapple. And they're sweetened with, this brand is sweetened with Splenda. There's a lime. And so these guys are the no calorie, they're the sugar-free, they're the true 000 that you see. These were two of the three sweeteners that you saw pictured today. The cherry one is actually, I'm just having a little shot of that in my glass there. And one thing I can say about liquid sweeteners is we have clients that use them in the hot cross cookies, cool. We have clients that use them in their teas, in their baking, in their oatmeals, pancakes. We have clients that buy them for their pancakes. And the really great thing is that we brought in this low carb wall, not really aimed at phase 1 dieters, but just the general public that was looking to reduce their sugar intake. And so a little goes a long way, guys. So sucralose and Splendis, they're like 10,000 times more sweet than a tablespoon of sugar, but we just don't realize it off the bat. So the really neat thing about the Da Vinci's in liquid form is that very often, you know, you get 6 teaspoons is 1 serving. And very often 1 little teaspoon is more than plenty to flavor your tea or flavor your coffee or your pudding or your oatmeal or your baking. It is very powerful. So a little goes a long way. So that can be the beauty of using a liquid sweetener versus little the granular packets or even the syrups. So
you can order them online on Amazon, or a lot of like I can get them at my Home Goods, or there's a variety of, like World Market carries different sugar-free sweeteners. So thanks for all the questions. So Dee, we are long past our 30 minutes. Of course. It is the Easter show, so.
Sorry.
So we hope everyone is going to have a fabulous, fabulous holiday. If you are watching, please type in newsletter if you don't get our weekly newsletter, and follow the 2-step process. If you're in the replay, give us a hashtag replay, send us your hearts, your likes, your love. And of course, every week on Wednesdays, we're here. This is a better time for Dee, and so we're going to push our show back a little bit later in the afternoons now. So we'll be updating all of our stuff so that you know when to jump online. And Dee, you have a fabulous Easter with your family, and I'll be down in the desert soaking up the sun. I'll send you guys a picture from the pool. All right, you guys, have a super, super, super day.